Hey guys, how are you? Hope that you're doing great. I'm dropping by just to talk about something specifically about social media and consumption. So, lately, or probably 2025, mid 2025 until today, I have seen more Doomerism type of content. So, we are doomed, AI, job market, whatever. And I know that I think that you know that I pretty much talk about this a lot. So there's a lot of people that is basically saying like the job market is doomed. There are no more jobs open due to greediness, due to AI, whatever. And let's assume that's true for a moment. I don't think that's a valid excuse to not try and to not learn and to not keep trying. The thing is that I have noticed also lately that a lot of things in life have to do with how you see them. And I'm not saying or invalidating people who have truly harshful living conditions. I think we need to accept that yes, some people have it harder than us, some people have it easier than us, but that's not a valid excuse to not try. And what I mean by this is there is people who is like just complaining a lot about things in life, what happened in their lives, like segregation, ethnical or race conditions that didn't allow them to get a good job or get good education or whatever. And if it works, I can tell you a little bit about my story. So I studied on 3 different universities. At first, I studied in the University A, which I'm not going to tell which one it was. And I started studying business administration because I had a girlfriend there, and I just studied that thing, or started studying that thing because of her. I didn't want it to be apart from them, from her. Sorry. And long story short, I was around 1 year and something, like year and a half, and I didn't have money to keep paying for the university. So I didn't keep studying in that university. And at the end, I just broke up with her, told her that, hey, like we cannot see each other. I need to focus on my getting my life together and whatnot. Which I did. I pretty much started to program, and then I learned how to program, and I definitely can think or say that programming has saved my life. It gave me things that education or traditional education never did. So I'm a self-taught programmer, but I wanted to get serious about it. So the second university was a university, also private, but they offer scholarships for people who play instruments. So I played the violin, and I did an audition for that. And actually, the audition was like the very best audition of that particular group of scholarships, but they could only cover 50%, and this was due to a change of the rules that they abide by. And the interesting thing is that I had friends who studied there with 100% scholarship, and they basically just got university for free. Whereas me, I needed to pay like $1,000 monthly just to study there, and I didn't have that kind of money to do that, because I was, providing for my house and whatnot. So I basically enrolled into a third university, and this university was the one that I ended up graduating as a software engineer, basically. And the thing that I want to say is that this third university is a public university. Is definitely not amongst the best universities in the country. It's probably one of the worst. However, I do not think that's a valid excuse to not thrive and not to put your name out there and to create a brand or name for yourself. So I think there's a lot of people that complain, especially in America for some reason, that they complain that they didn't went to Yale or they didn't went to Harvard or whatever, and that's why they cannot find the opportunities and whatnot. Let's assume that nepotism exists, which it does. That's undeniable. However, regardless of that reality that we have to accept, because the longer we accept or the longer we came to peace terms with that reality, the longer we will have issues. The faster we accept that reality, the faster we can operate under that new framework or perspective. So in this particular case, what I want to say is that even though education or university is not at your side, you still have the power to learn and you still have the power to do things on your own. And I think the best education that I ever gotten is the internet and books. That's pretty much it. And what I mean by this is that you need to be competitive. We are in a very competitive world, and if you don't feel that's the case, it's because you are not in the right spots, or you are not in the right places. You are not seeing the progress that technology is having right now. There is a lot of things, especially in the software engineering world, with AI agents, skills, MCP servers, you call it, retrieved augmented generation, different models, new papers coming almost every day. And if you don't get into that train, it's going to get harder to get into the same train 1 month later or 2 months later, because we are adding an extensive amount of knowledge that we need to be able to get fast. And if you don't get that, I'm not saying that you cannot get it and you're doomed. I think that's ridiculous. I'm just saying that it's going to take you more time to get into the same place as someone who's doing it every day. And it turns out that there's a lot of people doing that every day, and they are the ones getting rewarded by the market. So I understand the idea of AI taking your job is threatening. However, AI is not taking your job. It's people who learn to use AI who's taking your job, quote unquote. I don't think that's the case. They are just opportunities. Those opportunities don't have your name on it or anything like that. And whoever is the best fit and sells better is the one that gets the reward. That's basically what it is. So what I mean by this is that I think there is a lot of, to recap to the main point, I think it's ridiculous for social media people or YouTubers, or you call it, when they create things like the job market is doomed, 2026 is the year where jobs collapse and whatever. Here's the thing that I do not want you to do. When I hear those things, and I'm going to put myself as an example, when I hear those things, I have anxiety. Because of course I want to be able to provide for my family and whatnot. However, if I let that be the excuse of why I am not learning software, I'm not learning design patterns, I'm not learning operating systems, if I let that be the excuse, I think I deserve to not have a job, if that's the case. However, you can see it this way. Yes, the job market is changing. We are not going to deny that. Yes, there are fewer jobs. I'm not going to deny that also. 3, the level required to be a software engineer is continuously increasing. All of my friends from university, they haven't got like a software engineer job just yet, because they're competing against people who also graduated from earlier years, and basically they got more experience, they got more tools, they learned more, they are willing to work for lower wages. And the thing is that you need to understand, this is the idea that I want to communicate to you, is that we are on a super competitive environment right now. And if you're not seeing that, it's because you are not being updated or you're not in the right places. Instead of looking at social media, because social media, and here's the other thing, YouTubers or this like content creators who create the market is to stop learning software engineering types of videos and content, they get rewarded by social media because they get attention. And we as human beings normally tend to drift more about the bad things, or are better to notice the bad things rather than the good things. And the thing is that I suggest, or my suggestion to you is that stop watching that. Start watching content creators that actually matter. One of them, and I'm going to make a public shout out, is T.S. Oding, or Soding, I believe it's pronounced. He's like a genius guy, and he still creates projects manually, like image viewers, HTML servers, making UIs in C. Like, the guy is really interesting to watch and to listen to. And I think you should start seeing that type of content, which is more encouraging, which is actually about how to build things and how those things work, rather than watching Doomerism videos. I think we have a lot of Doomerism videos already, and we will continue to have Doomerism videos because it's easy to talk about things, it's hard to do them. So people who do are fewer than people who talk. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm talking too much. I should probably start doing more like hands-on coding videos and whatnot. That's a note for myself. But yeah, basically, it's hard to do things. That's I would say that I categorize the world into particular beings: the ones who do, regardless of the circumstance, and the ones who watch. That's it. There's people who watch. That's 90% of people, 95, 99. And then people who do is like 1%. Or if you want to see it on Pareto, I don't know how to pronounce it. But the 80-20 rule, yes, you can also see it like that. And it's hard because a lot of people will critique, but they haven't done anything themselves. So you need to understand that people who normally throw hate at you by doing things, they normally feel threatened by you. That's it. So probably just kill the noise, just keep going, and delete any type of content that is not providing you with hope. And yeah, let's say hope. Like, delete everything that it's not providing you hope. And there's a lot of great people out there. I think we're doing great advancements. Of course, people is mad at the economy, at the politicians, and a lot of things. However, we need to remind ourselves that we are also part of the solution. We can be part of the solution. We sometimes think that we are, or maybe too little, or that we are not equipped to do those things. But as a matter of fact, I think we can. It's just that we haven't proposed ourselves to create solutions for those issues. So that's pretty much it, the rant for today. I just came from the gym and wanted to talk about that. And at the end of the day, I think it's a matter of perspective. If you have, which probably 90% of you will do, if you have 3 plates of warm food every day, if you have a bed, if you have a job, even if it's not the best one, if you have your family alive, if you have a computer, you have a phone, if you have a house or live in a house and not in the streets, those are small things that get forgotten, and once we lost them, that's when we value them. However, I just wanted to close the note saying that the past really doesn't matter, neither the future. Because the past are the things that we have done and we cannot correct them. In the future are things that have not happened already, but we can create them. So at the end of the day, what really matters is the present. The choices that you made right now is what matters. The future builds itself if you take care of the present. And at the same time, the past is being created as you make the choices. And you're creating a past that you won't regret. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope that you have an amazing day, guys, and talk soon.